Hello, boys and girls. It's been so long that I don't even remember how Alex normally introduces the podcast. We are back. Well, I am back. Alex is still out on assignment, so to speak. Some of you may remember that his wife was due with their first baby, and the baby was born. Congratulations to Alex and Katie. Alex is going to be rejoining the pod shortly, but couldn't make it tonight. And I can hardly blame him, as I know what it was like to be a new parent. So you are stuck with me, the guy who doesn't know as much and the guy who gives the hot takes. And we are here today to do a quick look back at the last two games that we missed while Alex was dealing with his, pregnant and in labor wife. And I was on vacation and in work meetings prior to that and couldn't get away and record a podcast. So in the meantime, go like, follow, rate, review, subscribe, all the things below my face here. Normally it's our faces, but it's just me tonight. So please follow us and like us and review us and subscribe on all the places that you can. I am Chris Condit. This is the Red, White, Claret, and Blue pod, in case I didn't say that, because I don't normally do this introduction. I am today your American villain voice. The lukewarmest of lukewarm opinions is what Alex likes to bill us, but we all know that I don't give the lukewarm opinions all the time on this show. But again, go like, follow, rate, review everything you see below my face. Now, as I said, it's been a while since we recorded a pod. The last podcast we recorded was a preview of the Brighton game, and then Alex's wife had a baby, and I was busy with both work and personal time on vacation. So I have one thing to say about the Brighton win. Villa obviously won 1-0, as we all know. It was awfully kind of Arsenal to lend us their best player, own goal, for that win. It's not often you see a team get away with a victory with not a single shot on goal. So you'll take it, take the 3 points where you can, which leads us to the Newcastle 3-1 loss in the Cup. I have two quick thoughts that I'll give on that one. It was a terrible game for Villa. I did not get a chance to watch it. I was on vacation and was not able to get in front of a TV. But I did watch the highlights, and the two things stood out. Newcastle flatly outplayed Villa in every phase of the game, particularly in the second half. Marco Bizot had a total head scratcher. You can nitpick whether or not that should have been red because the ball may have been going out, but I don't know what he was doing out there in the first place. That's the question you need to really ask of Marco Bizot there. Why are you out there? But anyway, my quick thoughts are this. The result of the game, this to me says you throw everything into Europa for two reasons. One, you get a trophy if you win the Europa League. Trophy number one. Two, that gets you to Champions League. So you can accomplish two goals in one tournament. Europa League is the focus. You still want to finish high in the table, and right now Villa sit third. Arsenal dropped points yet again against Wolves. So it's not impossible that they can stay around these Champions League positions, but Europa League will get you what you want in terms of Champions League qualification and get you the silverware that all Villa fans have been looking for so long. And then the second point, one of the biggest things that I saw in reaction to the game was that this game was so poorly officiated that it shows the need for VAR. And I understand that thought. I understand why people say that. My take on it is actually the opposite. And I think Wayne Rooney had the same take, if I remember when I was reading the post-match reaction. What I saw was an advertisement for why you need to scrap VAR, because what you have now are officials, referees, accustomed to being able to wait to make calls, and somebody upstairs will buzz them if they get it wrong. So if it's something close or even not so close, they're now natural reaction is to not make the call on the field and let the game play out. And I think you saw that in several instances. At least two of them went Aston Villa's way, and ultimately Newcastle got got the goals and got the win they deserved. But I have the opposite take. I think that you need to scrap VAR almost entirely, except for goal line technology. And I'm okay with automated offside as long as the rules are clear on what is and is not offside. But this idea that this game shows why you need VAR when what you have is a referee on the field who won't make a call. And the reason I think that's the case is because he is now so accustomed to being able to wait for VAR to buzz down to him and tell him we need to review that. And now PGMOL and whoever is representing them is going to tell you that's not the case. That's not how the referees think. But here's what I'm going to tell you. You can't stop human psychology. You cannot stop their brains from knowing that they have that option. And then when you take that option away for one game, two games, the cup games where, up until Wembley, I think it is, that changes the way they're supposed to officiate, but their brain is so accustomed to refereeing a different way that you see. I mean, that Luka Dean handball was clear as day, but it wasn't given. And instead, a free kick was given. And I think probably because Chris Kavanaugh said, well, if I got it wrong, VAR is going to pick it up. But there was no VAR. And again, I'm speculating there, but I'm talking more about the way human beings think more than anything else. You cannot expect people to referee a game one way 95% of the time and then change it and say, oh no, all of a sudden you don't have this VAR option, and now you have to call everything the way you're actually supposed to. Because we know for a fact that in situations, the directive from PGMOL is to let the game play out and let the video assistant referees review the footage to see if there's anything that needs to be called back. And I think this was a perfect example of it. I think that we need to bang the drum to get rid of the system almost entirely, not the opposite, because this was a textbook case of why VAR has ruined the sport, because now you have officials who won't just make the call on the field that they can see with their own two eyes. That's my personal opinion, but everyone also knows that I've been anti-VAR for a long time, and I'm going to remain that way. So with that said, I don't have the fancy transitions that Alex does, and I also don't have the witty banter to play off of like he does, because he happens to have a very smart and charismatic and witty co-host. We will move on to the Leeds United preview, which is the point of this podcast today. And I thank you again for joining me. Alex, like I said, will be back at a later date soon. He'll rejoin the pod here. But Leeds United coming up this Saturday at Villa Park, 10 a.m. Eastern time. The last time that we met, Villa won 2-1 at Ellen Road. And as it turns out, that was an extremely good result for Villa, because Leeds have played very well at Ellen Road, which is always talked about as a very difficult place to play, in a very loud, enthusiastic environment. So Leeds home road splits, I should say, reflect that. They have 6 wins at home. Yes, 6 wins at home and only 3 losses, one of those to Aston Villa. And they have only 1 victory all season away from Ellen Road. So good on Villa to get that 2-1 result. It was on the back of a Morgan Rogers double. and a come from behind victory that we've become so accustomed to seeing this season. They currently sit 15th. They're on 30 points. They look like they're creeping very close to safety, given the way the bottom of the table is coming up, but they've been picking up a lot of points lately. Lots of draws. They got results against Chelsea, Liverpool, Brentford, Man United, and they played Man City extremely well. So, how do they typically play? It's not the dirty Leeds as much as we're accustomed to, although it does seem to me that whenever somebody puts that shirt on, all of a sudden they just want to start hacking somebody's legs down. So there is something to that moniker. But they typically set up in a 4-3-3 with Calvert-Lewin up top, and he leads the team with 10 goals in the league this season. And he's really one of two players that have made this sort of attacking engine go for Leeds. The other is American, Brendan Aronson, who's having a very solid season so far. He's got 7 goal contributions, 4 goals, 3 assists in league. And how do they approach the game? They attack a lot through the middle, and they take a lot of shots, but they never quite get 50% possession, even at home. But they take a lot of shots, fewer shots on the road by about 2 per game. And as we already previously noted, they score far fewer goals away from home than they do on the road. They score far fewer goals away from home than they do at Ellen Road. But I wonder what the cause for that is. It can't just be playing away from home, because 2 fewer shots per game is significant, but it's not so significant that you're going to see this delta in terms of the difference between their goals scored at home and their goals scored on the road. Now, what I will tell you, we'll get to their defending in a minute. When they attack mostly through the middle, and they attempt long balls over the top and as line-breaking passes. So there is potential to catch Villa on the offside trap. Their defensive record, as I said, is not very good. Only 3 teams in the league have conceded more goals, and they give up a lot of big chances. They have an XG against, I should say, of 44. And they don't have a world-class keeper like Emi Martinez in goal, like Villa. The players that I would say to watch out for, I already mentioned them. There are 2 players that really stand out when you look at this roster. It's Calvert-Lewin and Aronson. Everything seems to run through those 2. Their midfielders have, by and large, struggled maintaining possession. They do like I said, to attack through the middle. But I think if Villa can control that portion of the game through the middle of the park, like we always talk about, that will make a huge difference for Aston Villa, and that will be potentially the deciding factor in the game. For Leeds, only 1 player out injured, Noah Okafor. He's their backup striker, and he's played very well. He's got 4 goals. Everybody else that was on the injury list is cleared to play as of the time we recorded and when I last checked. So with Villa, what do we expect? Marco Bizot is going to be out, so it's going to be Emi Martinez in goal. Matty Cash is questionable with knee inflammation. Allison is questionable yet again. For a lineup, because Alex isn't here, I didn't prepare a lineup, so I'm going to do one off the top of my head. I'm going to assume that Cash is going to be healthy, and we're going to go Emi Martinez, Cash. I think that it's Konsa. I think it's time to bring Pau Torres back after the struggles of the back line in general in the Newcastle game. And I'm not sure why Pau has fallen out of favor, but I think it's time to bring him back in. Luka Dean, I think, will probably get the start again, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Mattson, but I'll stick with Luka Dean. Onana appears to be healthy, so I'll put him there. In front of him, I don't know. Could we see Ross Barkley make a start? I doubt it, but that's a fun idea. And he's played better this season, more forward and even into the number 10 role. I don't think he's going to play at the number 10. And then if we move to the forwards or the wingers and a forward, it's going to be Jadon Sancho. I think obviously Morgan Rogers and Emmy. I'm sorry, not Emmy Buendia. Today we're going to go with Leon Bailey. So I think that the reason you want Sancho and Bailey out there is to create width that will counteract Leeds going through the middle. Ollie Watkins up top. That's my prediction. And in terms of a score prediction, I would like to think that this is going to be a comfortable Villa win, but they never seem to be anymore. And Villa are still dealing with a lot of injuries. And squad depth has become a very serious issue. I will go 2-1 Aston Villa. And I hope I'm right, because right now Villa need all the points they can get in the table, and we need to maintain our position if the goal is to maintain league position. And there is financial reason to want to get the highest place you can in the table. Like I said, my focus now would be much more Europa than the league, but right now we're sitting in Champions League position, so you don't want to throw that away. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like we always say, gosh, I don't want to really say this out loud, but slide tackle into our DMs. Hit us up on social media, YouTube, all those things. We love hearing from you guys. And now that Alex and his wife have had the baby, and I am back at least for a little bit from a very busy stretch at work and a little bit of vacation at the House of Mouse. Those of you that have been to Florida know what I'm talking about. We're going to be back into our 2 episode per week, thereabouts, 2 to 3 episode per week rotation. And we hope to see or hear from you guys and talk to you guys and engage and all those fun things. This podcast is a lot better when Alex is here. It's just easier to bounce ideas off each other. But I do appreciate you sitting through with me here as we preview Leeds United. And as always, up the Villa.
Hi, Mom and Dad.